We all love cheap Wonderkids in FM23, so what could be better than a full team of Wonderkids that you can sign for a combined total of under £10 million? It sounds pretty good to me, so let's run the intro and I'll show you these players. Hello everyone, Jake here for FMSCOUT. Welcome to today's video where we're going to be making a team of Wonderkids for under a combined total of £10 million. Now obviously these players' prices might vary in your save depending on circumstances, but you should be able to sign them for about the values that I'm mentioning here, so take the exact numbers with a pinch of salt. Not only is this team cheap though, I'm focusing on Wonderkids in this video who we haven't really covered on the channel before. There might be one or two that you recognise, but the majority will be unknown Wonderkids to you guys, so let's go and check them out, shall we? Now our first Wonderkid is a goalkeeper, but I'm not actually including him in my list. I just wanted to give you a goalkeeping option for cheap, seeing as I'm showing all the other positions, but don't count him in my overall total. Either way though, this is Icelandic 20-year-old Hakon Raffen Valdimarsson. He plays for IF Elfsborg out in the Swedish divisions. He's a pretty decent goalkeeper, nothing too special, 6'2", but he does already have international experience for Iceland, and I'm sure he will pick up more caps in your save, and for a price of about 1 million, he does represent good value for money. Before we carry on, I did forget to mention, but if you do enjoy this video, then please smash that like button for us and let us know in the comments which Wonderkids you would have put into this team, and also why not subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Daily Football Manager content, make sure you hit that button so you don't end up missing out on your next favourite Football Manager Wonderkid. But our next player is a left back / centre back. For the sake of this team, he will be our left back. It is Elias, who plays for Real Madrid. Now it doesn't say his last name here, but if it did, it would say Zidane because his father is Zinedine Zidane. It seems like the majority of his children have played for Real Madrid at some point, but this 6'4" left back has some great attributes right from the start, and realistically probably would make a better centre back. He's left-footed, good jumping reach, natural fitness and stamina. His other physical attributes need a lot of work, but he is only 16, so you'll definitely see those go up over the first couple of years of your save. A good decision maker who's aggressive and determined, but outside of that, again, he will need some work, and he's good in the air in terms of his heading, but everything else, maybe not so much. He's definitely not the complete package, but he does have Wonderkid potential in the game, and if you give him the right development, he could turn into a player who's pretty decent. But either way, I think you'll make your money back on his original price, which even though his release clause is 1.7, it looks like we might be able to get him for about £500,000 here, which wouldn't be a bad deal because in 3 or 4 years time, you'll easily be able to sell him on for more than that once he develops. Our next player is towards the later ages of those Wonderkid years in Football Manager. It's Chilean centre-back Daniel Gonzalez. He plays for Universidad Católica and could be signed for anywhere around £1 million. He's more of a ready-made product than a lot of the players in this list, but that is because he is 20 years old. But the centre-back is very nicely well-rounded straight away. Physical attributes are at a very good level. He's not lacking in anything too much. Pace, jumping reach, strength, all of that is at a nice level. Then you come to his mentals, where he is very, very strong for a player of his age. There's nothing really that he's lacking. Yes, off the ball work and vision, but you don't really need too much of that for a centre-back who isn't going to be a ball player. And then when you're thinking about that you want him to be the hard tackling centre-back as opposed to the ball playing centre-back, he's got everything he needs for that role. I mean, 14 heading, 13 marking, 14 tackling, and 12 technique as well. Good positioning and teamwork. He'd definitely be a good centre-back for maybe a high-level championship club, and he could easily play in the Premier League once he's had a little bit of development. Even straight away, you could argue he might be able to fit in. A very, very good player. And also in this video, don't trust the star ratings because I'm Manchester City manager here, so all of these players are being compared to Haaland and De Bruyne. So take the stars with a pinch of salt, as you should always do in Football Manager, but Daniel Gonzalez is a very good centre-back should you need one on the cheap. We head back to Europe for our next player. It's German centre-back Joel Agaykum, who plays for Hamburg in the second division of Germany. Now he is certainly not the finished product at centre-back, but he does have some very, very high attributes, at least in this save. Straight away, 16 first touch, 16 positioning, as well as 14 tackling, 13 passing, good technique as well. If you could develop his vision, he'd be a great ball-playing defender. Yes, his mental attributes need some work, but I believe his attributes are randomised depending on your save, so it might be completely different determination for you. Physically, he does need some work. He's 6 foot tall and doesn't really have all that much going for him, neither pace nor strength or aerial ability. However, he's got a few years to develop yet before you'd really rely on him in the first team, and for a small fee of about £1 million, he definitely represents good value for money. Now, you can go ahead and approach to sign him, but you would have to pay a compensation fee, so it's probably not worth doing. I think it'd be cheaper to outright purchase him. With some development, he will easily be a Bundesliga level player, so make sure you check him out. And for one of the more expensive options on this list, we have Martin Fernandes, the Portuguese 16-year-old right back, one of the best right backs in this year's FM. It just so happens he's one of the cheapest Wonderkid right backs too. I won't go into too much detail with Martin here because we did a video last week with a full development Wonderkid to superstar video showing just how good he can become, so I'll let you watch that if you really want to find out. But all I can say is he's definitely worth this money. But if we want to go under our £10 million budget, we need to start saving some money on our next few players. Before we look at our next player, just give me a few seconds to try and sell you on checking out my channel after this video, which you can find in the description down below if you do want to go over there. If you like Let's Play series, we've got that on the channel. We do rebuild videos over there. I'm also now doing some YouTube shorts on the channel as well, where we spotlight certain Wonderkids that you might not have heard of and show you how good they could become. So if you want to come check that out on my channel, I'd massively appreciate it. I really think you'd enjoy the Let's Play stuff and also get some use out of those shorts. So hopefully you do check it out, but let's get back to the list. And our next player is certainly potential over current ability. We're not looking at a player here who'd be ready-made to play at any particular level, but instead we're focusing on the potential this guy has. It's Tiago Freitas of Benfica's under-19s. Now, the reason I say potential is because he's only 15 years of age and you can mould him into whatever kind of role you want. Now, he does have some good starting attributes to help him: good passing, vision, long shots, determination, decision-making. That might influence the kind of player that you want to turn him into. He needs a lot of work in other areas, but in 3-4 years' time, he's going to look like a completely different player than what you're seeing here. And for an investment of just under £1 million, or if you wanted to approach to sign him, he could be a great pickup. Now, we're Manchester City here, and he is so young that he knows he won't be joining us for a while, so he's not willing to discuss an approach to sign deal, but definitely one that's worth scouting, potentially signing, because he can become a real gem. He will need a lot of hands-on development from you guys to reach his full potential, but if he does, he could be a star for you. Our next player is one of my favourites, not just because he's cheap, but he also has a very good starting set of attributes. It's Colombian 18-year-old Miguel Monsalve, who plays for Independiente Medellin out in the Colombian divisions. Now, this is a player that certainly has a bright future. He's natural in that attacking midfield position, has some great physical attributes straight away to build off of, and whilst his mentals are fairly weak, he does have some very nice technical attributes with 15 dribbling, 15 first touch, 15 technique, and 11 passing. They're his real standout attributes out of anything. A very nice player, and for that value of about £500,000, £600,000, you can't really go wrong. He's another one that you can go ahead and do the approach to sign deal on. I just gave it a go here and it did work, although you will be paying a higher compensation fee than you might have to pay outright in the transfer, so bear that in mind. But he's certainly a very talented midfielder, and I guarantee you if he was playing for a bigger club, his transfer valuation would be massively inflated compared to this. This is a true bargain, and if there was anyone in this list I'd suggest you take a look at, it would be him. Our next player is former Wimbledon player and now Rangers youngster Archie Stevens, who has only just recently joined Rangers, so you might not be able to get him straight away. However, this 16-year-old Englishman I have seen go for tens of millions of pounds only a couple years into saves. We did a Rangers rebuild on my channel, which again you can check out in the description, and on there I didn't really know he existed. He was in my development centre, and Manchester City ended up coming in for a £10-15 million bid, if I remember right, for a player that hadn't even played for us yet. So with that being said, I can definitely vouch for him being a value for money option at somewhere under £1 million. Yes, he needs a lot of work, but for a 16-year-old, he has a decent set of attributes. Nothing is spectacular, but his mentals do look pretty decent for a player of his age. He's going to develop a lot over the next few years, and when you're an English team and you can't really sign players from abroad without work permits, Archie Stevens could be a great choice to go for. Now again, you can go ahead and approach to sign him, even though he has only just joined his club. The compensation fee doesn't actually look to be that much, but maybe it's something you want to go for. I'll leave that up to you. you, but definitely worth scouting. See if your scouts say something good about him, and if they do, he's definitely worth this price. Easily will make you a profit or become a great player for you. Into our final 3 players now, and we're heading over to Brazil. Don't forget to like the video if you are enjoying up until this point, but we are now looking at João Brasilia. Don't know how you pronounce his name. I've given it my best shot. He plays for Brazilian side Fluminense FC in their under-20 side, and he has a lot of technical ability right from the off. Now, his determination is super low in this save, and that might put you off, but it's potentially different in yours. I believe it might be a randomly assigned attribute, but at the age of 16, this Brazilian certainly has a lot of potential. Very strong technically, as mentioned. Decision making, first touch, dribbling, technique, vision, passing, long shots. He's already very good at all of that. If you can then develop his physical attributes, his mentals as well, even if those technicals didn't develop all that much, you'd be looking at a very strong option. Again, another one where you can say in a couple years he'll be a completely different player with some development and easily worth that £1 million. A guy with a real bright future in real life also. Keep your eyes on him because he could be a great sign-in for your team. Now, this is a legend of the last few Football Manager games and someone that I don't think I've even covered on FM23 yet. Maybe once we have, but if you don't somehow already know about Sufinat Muenta, then you really need to. This is a Thai striker / inside forward on that left-hand side who can be signed from Buriram United for about £1 million, and I'd argue he's actually worth loading in the Thai divisions purely to sign him. He's just such good value for money. Again, £1 million or so for a player that's physically very well rounded. His mental attributes are off the charts. Add in 14 finishing, 13 technique, 13 first touch, 13 dribbling. They're phenomenal attributes for a player who is so cheap, and no offense to the Thai divisions, is still playing in Thailand. The fact that he isn't in a top 5 league in Europe does surprise me, and I imagine it won't last for very long. Already an international player for his team, leading the line on a national front. One of my favourite options that you can sign in FM. He has a fixed potential rating as well. Let me check what it is. There you go, 143 potential ability. That is fixed, which isn't as high as some other players, but he's got a very good chance of reaching that. And at that current ability level, he would be a low-level Premier League striker for a cheap value of about 1 million, and in a different division could easily tear it up. Certainly worth taking a look at. He's got all the attributes you could want, really. A phenomenal player and definitely one of my favourites in this list. But he doesn't take the striker position in our team, but instead that goes to Bulgarian attacking midfielder and striking option Nikola Iliev, who you'd be surprised to see in a cheap Wonderkid video when you can see his attributes and the fact that he plays for Inter Milan. 6 foot tall, Bulgarian striker at the age of 18 with great attributes. How is he so cheap? Well, his valuation is fairly high here, but I know you can get him for about £1.5 million or so, or even, if you fancy it, he is available on an approach to sign deal. So if we go ahead and try and negotiate, let's see what that compensation fee would be. It's a pretty pricey one, but again, he'd definitely be worth that money, and you might be able to get him for cheaper outright. He's also only got a year left on his deal, so he could be worth scouting, seeing if he becomes available, and if he does, definitely try and pick him up. He's in Inter's under-20s side, and I don't see them making him a regular part of the first team anytime soon, so you might be able to go and approach him to bring him to your team. A great set of attributes, not lacking in any area. He's natural in 2 very useful positions, and I've seen him become a great striker in my saves, one that we haven't really covered too much considering how good he is. He does have a fairly low potential range of only 130 to 160, but even on the lower end of that range, he's still worth the money, and if you can get him at 160 potential, he's actually 157 potential here. Why would you not go for him? Such a good player and someone that can become a real star and actually contribute to your side straight away. Definitely check him out. But with that being said, that is our team of 10/11 Wonderkids, if you want to include the goalkeeper, that add up to a total team value of somewhere around £10 million. It might be slightly over, might be slightly under, depends what save you load up and what kind of transfer valuations your players have, but they're definitely all worth signing. If you can't find any of them in your save, or you can't find particular ones, it will be because you don't have a large enough database or that league included in your database when you loaded up your save originally. But some of these options are playing in the top 5 leagues in Europe, so hopefully you'll be able to pick at least a few of them up. If you have enjoyed it, smash the like button for us, subscribe for more content like this, let us know who you would have put in this list in the comments down below, and check out my channel linked in the description if you would like. But most of all, have a great day everybody, and I'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.